On today's show, LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers are in town for their only visit of the year. Andy Kamentzky from Locked On Lakers stops by to talk about everything going on with the Lakers and where's LeBron going to be playing next year. We talk about that all on today's edition of Locked On Cavs.
You are Locked On Cavs, your daily Cleveland Cavaliers podcast.
Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hi again, everybody. My name is Danny Cunningham, and I cover the Cleveland Cavaliers over at my Substack, The Inside Shot, and you're listening to another edition of Locked On Cavs. You can find this show the same place you find any other Locked On podcast. It's Spotify, that's Apple, that is YouTube as well. Please do us a favor, hit that thumbs up button and hit the notification bell if you're watching the show on YouTube, and make sure you're subscribed wherever you get your podcast. It's because of people like you that the Locked On Podcast Network is now the #1 sports podcast network in all of America. And today's episode of Locked On Cavs brought to you by FanDuel. It's the last call for football on FanDuel. And if you're a new customer, bet just $5 and get $200 in bonus bets if you win. On Wednesday night, the Los Angeles Lakers will visit Rocket Arena for the very first and only time this season. That means LeBron James makes his one annual visit to Cleveland. Could be his last visit as a member of the Lakers. Could be his last visit as an active NBA player. I dive into that, plus what actually is going on with the Lakers, the basketball team, with Andy Kamentzky. So here is my conversation with AK from Locked On Lakers. And for the one and only time this year, the Los Angeles Lakers will be making their annual trip to Cleveland, Ohio to take on the Cavaliers on Wednesday evening. That means LeBron James returns back home. We will hopefully get a view at Luka Doncic because he always seems to, for some reason or another, miss playing in Cleveland, whether it's been, actually, I don't think the Lakers were here before he was traded last year, but when he's been a member of the Dallas Mavericks, he has not played in Cleveland, and that is something people certainly look forward to here. But before we get into all of that, just Andy, man, what's been going on with the Lakers so far this year?
They have been a team with high highs, low lows, and a lot of inconsistency. Some of that completely outside their control with a lot of injuries, guys in and out of the lineups. I want to say JJ has played 20 starting lineups this season, none of which have involved changes because JJ wanted to go in a different direction. They have all been health related, all been this guy is unavailable, therefore I have to change yet again. So it's been difficult to gain a lot of continuity over the course of this season beyond the roster flaws, beyond certain elements that just where the Lakers have weaknesses, things like that. They've had a difficult time just landing on consistency. Although I will say this road trip, they're 3-1. They're playing pretty well. And over the last handful of games in general, they're starting to trend in a better direction. We'll see if they can maintain it.
What do you think has worked or maybe hasn't worked with the Luka Doncic, LeBron James pairing so far this year?
It's an interesting question because they started the season with LeBron sciatica. I want to say he missed 15 games, and they didn't just lose a lot of opportunity, Luka and LeBron, to continue building on a relatively small sample size from last season because Luka arrived midseason. He missed some games before eventually debuting as a Laker. Then LeBron missed some games. But also, too, the chemistry between Luka and Austin, for whatever reason, has just been better and more immediate. So I think it made a lot of the stuff that's still being ironed out between Luka and LeBron feel more pronounced. It's often felt like at their worst, they're operating on two separate offensive islands. One of them is Luka Island. One of them is LeBron Island. And they are operating on different oceans entirely. They're starting to become better at playing off each other, particularly when it comes to setting up LeBron in transition, where he still is an absolute nightmare to slow down. At the same time, though, there have also been a lot of games where the Luka-led lineups without LeBron and the LeBron-led lineups without Luka have outperformed those moments where they're playing together. That being said, though, and this has become a key part of the Lakers' success this season and also just kind of keeping their heads above water when other things aren't working out. The Lakers in clutch time have been fantastic this year. I believe they are 14-2, 13-2, something like that. And Luka and LeBron in the last 5 minutes of games, 6 minutes of games, tight games, they've been really good together. So they managed to play off each other and put everyone else in the right places in the moments that matter most. And that's great. I still think it's a work in progress in a lot of ways. Just you're talking about two very high usage players who are used to controlling everything. And there's a certain degree of redundancy between the two. Not redundancy that can't work, but redundancy nonetheless. And it's, you're talking about LeBron scaling back the way he's played for his entire career. I think Luka is cognizant of not wanting to look like he is stepping on LeBron's toes. It's a player that he has openly idolized as he was a younger player. So it's a tricky dynamic that gets, I think, also exacerbated by well-documented tension between the Lakers front office and LeBron/Rich Paul/Clutch. But speaking of Clutch, those moments that matter most down the stretch of games is where Luka and LeBron have been their best together.
So there are about 5 things I want to follow up on from that, but we'll just rip the Band-Aid off right now with the LeBron angle, because at any time that he is back in Cleveland, this is going to be a talking point no matter how many more years he plays in the NBA, whether this is the final time he plays in Cleveland, or maybe, I don't know, he potentially plays 41 games as a player in a home arena in Cleveland next year. What do you expect the LeBron/Lakers relationship to look like moving forward? Because there's a lot of reporting out there that there is tension that, if LeBron's back with the Lakers next year, that it's not going to be on a contract like this. Does he want to be in LA if that's the case? I guess the best way to maybe phrase this is, what do you expect 1 year from right now to look like with LeBron and the Lakers?
If I had to place a bet now, I would place it on LeBron not being back next season. It just feels like both sides have grown sick of each other and that it's run its course as a relationship. So it's clear. I don't think it's hostility. I don't think it's outward animosity or anything like that. I don't think the relationship is good, but I don't think it's bad either. And I think that distinction matters. I feel like it's run its course. I mean, it's gone on. This is now LeBron's 8th season with the Lakers. It is longer than either one of them expected to be together. When this thing began, it was transactional in a lot of ways. It was almost like a marriage of convenience. I think the last few seasons have been, in a lot of ways, a marriage of inconvenience, where neither side is miserable, but all things being equal, they would be more than happy to move on. It would be their preference. Neither side has had a better option until the Luka trade, which gave the Lakers an off-ramp before LeBron found his own exit strategy. And I think this is the first time in LeBron's career that a team has, probably his entire time ever playing basketball, where a team has had a plan for moving on past him before he had the plan of moving on past them. And it's created a dynamic that I think LeBron and Rich Paul, they're just not quite sure what to do with it, how to handle it. Their attempts, I think, to create external pressure have not been effective at all, because there really is no pressure. There is no doom they can create from the idea of a looming exit, because the Lakers have Luka in hand, and they also know that this was only going to go on so much longer anyway. But all that being said, I don't think it has to be bad between the two sides, and I don't think it is bad. And as long as this doesn't bubble over into something hostile or ugly, I think they can coexist for the rest of this season. I don't think this season LeBron will have a better option than the Lakers. And LeBron is, even with some of the, as I like to call it, passive aggressiveness that we've seen over the course of his career, LeBron's a pro. LeBron is a professional. There is a reason that he is upheld across the league as someone that you can learn, among other things, professionalism from. He's going to be a professional. I don't expect this to become problematic. But at this point, I would be more surprised if LeBron is back than if he isn't.
I carry a lot of responsibility in my household. If something happened to me, there would be serious consequences. We have a mortgage, we got tuition, we got everyday bills. Those aren't going anywhere if something happens to me. And I know that's an overwhelming feeling, but I'm taking steps to protect my family by getting life insurance through Ethos. Ethos makes getting life insurance fast, easy, and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. There's no medical exam. You just answer a few simple health questions. You can get up to $3 million in coverage. Some policies are as low as $30 a month. And as of March 2025, Business Insider named Ethos the #1 no medical exam instant life insurance provider. Ethos has 4.8 out of 5 stars on Trustpilot with over 3,000 reviews. Protect your family with life insurance from Ethos now by going to ethos.com/LockedOnNBA. In as little as 10 minutes, you can get your free quote and up to $3 million in coverage at ethos.com/LockedOnNBA. That's ethos.com/LockedOnNBA. Ethos.com/LockedOnNBA. Application times and rates may vary.
Today's show is also brought to you by FanDuel. It's the last call for football on FanDuel. One final Sunday, one last kickoff. The final chance to get in on the action before the NFL season officially comes to a close. This is Super Bowl 60. FanDuel is making sure that you're right in the middle of it with a special offer just in time for the biggest game of the year. Whether you're backing the favorite, riding with the underdog, or building one last same-game parlay, this is the game that everybody's been waiting for. This is where predictions turn into plays, stats turn into storylines, and every snap feels like it's something bigger than the one before. It's the perfect way to cap off the season and make the Super Bowl even more exciting from kickoff until the final whistle when one team is crowned a champion. And if you're a new customer with FanDuel, bet just $5 and get $200 back in bonus bets if you win that first $5 bet. All you got to do, pick one $5 winner, and $200 in bonus bets are yours if you are a new customer with FanDuel. Make it count, because after the Super Bowl, the season is over. It's the last call for football on FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of Super Bowl 60. Visit FanDuel.com. That is FanDuel.com today to get started. Today's show is also brought to you by TurboTax. Tax season doesn't have to take over your life. This year, TurboTax is making it easier than ever to just hand things off and move on with your day. With TurboTax Full Service, you can have your taxes done for you by a trusted local expert, start to finish, without the stress or the guesswork. Instead of spending hours trying to figure out forms, you can meet with a local TurboTax expert in person, or you can connect online. They handle everything from W-2s to self-employed forms, and they work to get you every deduction that you could possibly want. You can upload your documents, go about your day, and get updates right in the TurboTax app. It's a huge time saver, and it gives a real peace of mind knowing that an expert is handling it for you. So for a limited time, you can have your taxes done by a local TurboTax expert for just $150 all in. If a TurboTax expert didn't file for you last year, just file by February 28th, and that will be your deal. Take taxes off your plate and get back to your life. Visit TurboTax.com/local to book your appointment today. That is TurboTax.com, TurboTax.com/local, LOCAL, to book your appointment today. Well, that doesn't answer the question as to whether or not you think LeBron's going to play next year, because that's kind of the other side. Like, I agree with you. I think this is his last year playing for the Lakers. The thing I am curious about, and I lean towards he probably is still going to play somewhere, whether it's Cleveland or somewhere else. I think he will be an active NBA player next year. Do you have that same feeling?
It's hard to say, just because a lot of this is, I think, a type of decision that LeBron really can't know right now. Like, there have been a few exit interviews where LeBron has talked about not being sure what he wants to do, moving forward, retirement, that he's still thinking about this stuff. And people always interpret it as, oh, LeBron's trying to create a new narrative and distract people from the fact that the Lakers got eliminated. I take LeBron at his word. I think he is trying to figure this out, because the one thing we've seen, even as LeBron still plays at a level we've never seen from anybody at this age, with this type of mileage, this type of responsibility on the court, it doesn't look easy for LeBron anymore. Like, you know this. You covered 2 stints of prime LeBron. Prime LeBron made dominance look easy. Like, there were times where LeBron would put up otherworldly numbers, and it barely looked like his heart was beating, like that he was sweating in any way. Made it look simple. This does not look simple for LeBron anymore. Like, the fact that this season he has been dealing with sciatica and right foot joint arthritis, like these are the old people jokes that write themselves. And it's harder for him to do this. And while a 5th ring is better than a 4th ring, like in the grand scheme of things, it's not likely to change how anybody feels about LeBron. Like at this point, the sample size is established. It's very big. It's very accomplished. You're going to feel about, if you're not convinced LeBron can be the GOAT with all of this, a 5th championship isn't going to change your opinion. And I'm not even telling you how to think about it. I'm just saying it won't. So I think for LeBron, there's the question of, is this worth it? Like, is it worth putting myself through this again? Am I enjoying it enough? Am I waking up excited enough to play a random Tuesday game in mid-January on a road trip in the Midwest? You know what I mean? Like, he's even said, like, look, I could do without the traveling at this point in my career. I don't get excited. I bet I'll probably be excited for the Cleveland game, but
sure,
these are the things that I think LeBron is genuinely weighing. And unless his body is hurting more, like truly hurting more than he's letting on, I legitimately don't think it's a decision that he knows now, much less we can know now.
I think that's a fair way to look at it. And I think that's so I just think it's going to be such a fascinating talking point that's only going to probably be flamed a little bit over the course of the next 24 to 48 hours with the Lakers in Cleveland, because that always seems to be the case when he returns to this city that he's played in for 11 years. But in getting back to the actual basketball team right now, one of the things you brought up the clutch time stuff, and the Lakers have been, I think, the best team in the NBA in clutch situations, but that also means they're like 11 games above 500 right now, and they only got into the positive as far as a point differential goes earlier this week. Do you think that this Lakers team is as good as its record says it is?
That's an interesting question, because I think you can look at it a bunch of different ways. I mean,
what I'm here to do.
I think their record could make them seem more dominant than they are. At the same time, they are a good team. I think what they are is a good team with very exploitable weaknesses that make it difficult for them to consistently be a great team. And in order to be a great team, they have to play pretty much balls to the walls energy for 48 minutes and as mistake-free as possible in order to offset some of the inherent weaknesses with this roster in terms of defense, really across the entire lineup, athleticism, speed, at times shooting. Like these are things that the Lakers struggle with a lot. And teams have figured out, like, run on them off misses, run on them off makes, put them in transition as much as possible. When the Lakers put their mind to trying to get back and to be cognizant of it, they can be solid enough, but it's difficult. So I think they are a good team, and you know this because you've watched the Cavaliers over the last few seasons rack up some good records. Part of building up those records is beating the sub 500 teams, like beating the teams you're supposed to and not dropping those games. The Lakers have generally done a good job of avoiding the really stupid losses. They've had a few of them, and sometimes their wins have required more clutch time than they really should. But the bottom line is they're generally beating the teams that they should. And I would say, given, again, all of the injuries they've had over the course of this season and the lack of continuity, we see just how much they miss Austin Reeves, who seems like he is he's leaning towards joining the team on this road trip, making his debut after being out with his calf strain. It won't be against Cleveland. I'd be stunned if it was against Cleveland. But they miss Austin. They miss continuity. Austin is a factor that makes it easier for them to offset some of those weaknesses. They're a good, not great team. And I think in a lot of ways it's pretty commendable that they've managed to maintain this type of record despite these obstacles. But again, they're a vulnerable team. They're an exploitable team.
I couldn't agree more with that. I think they're a playoff team, and I think they're a team that could be successful in the playoffs because of their clutch time record. And I think that is something that does kind of lend itself to postseason success. But I could also see things kind of flipping and going the other way. But if you want more Lakers coverage, head on out to Locked On Lakers. Andy Kamentzky and Brian Kamenetsky both have you covered with the best Lakers coverage around. I'm sure you're going to want to hear more about that LeBron James guy heading into Wednesday's game against the Cleveland Cavaliers. Andy, thanks so much for the time, man.
Absolutely, man. This was fun.
A big thanks to Andy for stopping by before Wednesday's game between the Cavs and the Lakers. Always an exciting night when LeBron James is in town. We will see if this is the last time he plays against the Cavs in Cleveland. Maybe he's playing for the Cavs in Cleveland next year. Nobody knows what the future holds for him, but this is a Cavs team that's playing some really good basketball as of late, and a win on Wednesday night would be a very big moment for them as they then head off on the West Coast to take on the Suns on Friday. But that's going to do it for this edition of Locked On Cavs. Please make sure you're subscribed wherever you get your podcasts. That's Apple, that's Spotify, that is YouTube as well. And if you're watching the video as we get out of here, please do us a favor, hit the thumbs up button for us and hit that notification bell so you don't miss the latest Locked On Cavs.